I believe that the United States of America has a duty and an obligation to take care of the elderly people that have worked to build this company by working on jobs and thinking that they have a stable retirement benefit and Social Security and should not have to struggle to get that money that they worked for that was actually taken out of their payrolls as long as they did work. So I think that the United States has a great obligation to the seniors to make sure that they're not homeless, that they're not hungry, that they're not struggling to get their medications, and that they can live out the rest of their years. I think that through my years of life, something that I would like to pass down to the younger generation as words of wisdom would be try not to hurt people and try not to burn bridges that you may have to go back over again, because you never know, because you leave something, you just may need to go across it again. Try to build up a stable foundation with love and friendship, and do the things that you really want to do before you make a family, because once you make a family, it's a lot harder than trying to do it on your own, and education is very, very important. The greatest misconception that I believe about older people is that they're someone that can be thrown away, that they just babble and have nothing to contribute. The knowledge and the wisdom that the older people have is something that we can use to help us to not make the same mistakes that they made, to use the wisdom to pass on from generation to generation. And if there's someone that have lived their life, and they should live it out in peace and not be thrown away in just nursing homes and just as if they're forgotten. I think the words that they say should be used as wisdom to help us grow from day to day.
The most memorable thing I would go with is the political event with Barack Obama being sworn into president. Sworn in as president was definitely one of the most memorable things in my life, because I actually got a chance to go down to the polls and vote for him and just participate in the whole. I feel like the United States can definitely reach out to senior citizens more. I would say older people being 65 plus, I feel like the United States can offer them some kind of discounted medical plan, or some kind of, help them with housing and whatnot. Small words of wisdom to pass on to younger people would be to work hard. I know a lot of people who think that things just going to come to them without putting in the hard work, but just put in the work, and that will definitely allow you to. Older people is believing that older people are burdens to younger people. Yeah, it's definitely a thing that people believe the older people are burdens, but I definitely know that a lot of older people offer wisdom that they can pass on to the younger generation. So I would say people shouldn't just write them off because they're old, but they actually build a foundation for us to stand on. So,
The most amazing and influential to me would be cell phones. Why? Because cell phones nowadays are like probably 10 to 20 times stronger than computers back from 20 and 30 years ago. I learned that from talking to a guy from the military, and he was explaining little things like these can if they had these back in the 60s and 70s or whatever, these things can process or have the exact amount of power for us to get to them or whatever. But I mean, when I heard it, I thought I was tripping, because I was like, you from the military, these little bitty things, why would you think that? But I thought me doing my own research into phones for how long I've been doing it, he's right, he's dead on about it. With the pace of how strong and how fast these things are becoming. If computers work like this back then, it'd be a whole different story. I might have a whole different opinion on it, but it's just fact from looking at it, everything, how I think everything is going on. So I just cut up some slack. I've heard a lot of old people complain about a lot of things, and I don't think old people have had that much stuff to complain about, but with some of the things that go on with older people, like their disabilities or the fact don't judge. Don't judge people. Because you would never know who you meet or what a person could possibly do for you or help you do if you judge a person like right off the bat. You never had a conversation with them, don't know nothing about them. You just tripping off how they look or just what somebody else's opinion is. You don't know this person. Like why go ahead and do that? I feel like that's like the biggest lesson I learned, like just to not judge people before I even talk to them. The greatest misconception about older people is the fact that, well, the greatest misconception about older people to me is the fact that younger people think that they can't adapt to today's times. They can't quite catch up. But I believe they can. Why? Because of how fast things are moving back in the past. They were just as fast as things going on with us right now, but the only thing different is like how technology advanced things are becoming now than back then. But other than that, it's pretty much the same way to me. It's just stuff is more now than how it was back then. It's a lot more powerful now than what it was back then. But other than that, I think the biggest misconception about older people is that people don't think they can adapt to all that stuff we got going on.
Okay. My perception on aging in America is that age has a lot to do with how people treat people and how they perceive people. The older generation, people expect them to be sweeter and caring and be helpless, and that's why they get treated differently. Like, people respect them more. They open the door for them. They help them with their groceries, come across the street. A lot of restaurants have like senior citizen discounts. And with the younger generation, I believe that people expect them to be uncivilized and irresponsible. So they get treated differently. Like, there are some places that you have to be a certain age to go in there. Like, if you're not that age, then you cannot go in that place. For example, the Galleria, you have to be 21 to even walk around there, because they believe that if you're younger than that, you're going to be irresponsible and you're not going to be respectful to the people around you. So they get treated differently. They get harassed by policemen. They get accused of everything. If something happens, they're the first to blame, because a lot of people feel like the younger generation doesn't know anything, and because of that, they treat them like they don't know anything. They are harsher to the young generation, as I should say. But the older people, they get all the glory. They are seen as being wise, which they are. They have been here longer, so they know what and what not to do. So I just believe age just plays a big part in how you'll be perceived and how you'll get treated.
Basically, what we had to eat was fresh veggies.
And that's what we should be eating. That's the irony of it, is that mankind has, through science, humans live longer. However, the things that we're eating are killing us. And well, back in the day, you used to eat food.
We had, and not only that, we had watermelon, cantaloupe. We had peaches off a tree.
And that's what everybody ate, fresh fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Not quite so much meat products.
Right.
You still got your proteins in, but not like we do today.
But then when he would have the cow, the calf or whatever, butchered up, he didn't like the front part of the cow, like where you get the chuck roast and all of that stuff from.
He liked the sirloin and the tenderloin.
Right, he didn't like that part. So what he would do was have it ground up in hamburger meat. Believe me, we had hamburger meat for a lot of different ways. We had it in soup. We had hamburger soup. You ever